Okay, on day 2 of this, or part 2 of this, I wanted to remind you of the product and quotient properties for radicals. Remember, when you're taking whatever root, square root, cube root, whatever, of a product, you can split that into 2 parts. Okay, I like to show, for example, the square root of 100. You all know that is 10. But did you realize that really can be thought of as the square root of 4 times the square root of 25, which still will get you back 5, sorry about that, which will still get you back to 10. And that's a product property for radicals. Okay? And the same thing, here's an example for cube roots. Look at the quotient property for radicals. Okay, so you're nth rooting a quotient, a fraction. Well, you can root each part. Here's my example, the 4th root of 80 over the 4th root of 5. You could say, well, that's the 4th root of 80 over 5. Now notice how this one's working backwards. Realize that you could go this way or you could go this way. You know, the original property says, okay, if it's together, you could split it. But notice this one split and I put it back together. Whatever makes it convenient. Well, now you know the 4th root of 16 is 2, because 16 is 4 times 4, and each of those 4s is 2. When it's 4th root, you're looking for 4 of a kind. So, need to understand what we mean by simplified to simplest form. Okay, a radical with index n is in simplest form if, and I had corrected this once, but I didn't save it evidently, form if the radicand has no perfect nth root powers as factors and any denominator has been rationalized. So for example, if we are going to try to say the cube root of 54, well, 54 doesn't have a cube root, so you think you're done. But this is saying I want to take 54 and break it down. Well, that's 6 times 9. 6 is 2 times 3. 9 is 3 times 3. It's cube root. We're looking for 3 of a kind. So there's 3 3s when we simplify it, but we still have a leftover 2. So we've got the cube root of 2 that has to stay as a cube root. Okay, like radicals, so much like terms. Okay, if we have 8 square roots of x plus 4 square roots of x, the square root is the same. It's not square root or cube root. The radicand, in this case, x, is the same. But this could also be like 5 square roots of 3 minus 2 square roots of 3. Or we can call them 4th roots. I don't care. As long as the index is the same and the radicand, the number inside, is the same. Or it can simplify to the same. You'll see some examples, I'm sure. Okay, we want to simplify the 4th root of 96. Okay, some of you recognize 96 as 6 times 16, but some of us don't. So I'm going to start breaking it down. That's 2 times 48, which is 2 times 24. Now I know that's 4 times 6. Okay, now this is 4th root, so I need 4 of a kind. I got 4 2's that I can group together and a leftover 2 and 3. So I'd have 2 and then the 4th root of 6. Okay. Next example I have the 4th root of 3 divided by the 4th root of 8. Well, we cannot leave a root in the denominator if we can help it. 8 can be broken down into 2 cubed. If I had one more 4th root of 2, so this I don't mean to be equal, I want to simplify that. Well, now this would simply become 2. The numerator, I have to make the 4th root of the product of those radicands, 4th root of 6. Okay, here's what I mean by like terms. Cube root of 7, cube root of 7. Does not matter that the coefficient is, remember, understood 1 and 3. this would become 4 of those cube roots of 7. You won't see this very often, but notice those are like terms. Normally we would write that as the cube root of 5, the quantity squared, but this simplifies to 8 of those things. We are so accustomed to seeing those as variables that sometimes you might lose track of what that actually is. Here's another problem where we have a radical in the denominator. Well, that's 2 2's so far for our 4. I need 3 more. So I need the 5th root of 2 times 2 times 2, which is the same as the 5th root of 8. So my denominator is going to become 2 because now I have 5 of them. But the numerator is the 5th root of the product, 24. Okay? And that's all you can do with it. That's all the better it's going to get. Okay? These don't look like they're the same until we start simplifying this. This is 4 times 10. That's 2 and 2. 2 and 5. There's 3 2's. So this is going to become 3 times 2 cube roots of 5. So this whole thing is going to be 6 cube roots of 5. Added to my cube root of 5, that is my first term, I end up with 7 cube roots of 5. Okay. Bottom one is going to be similar, isn't it? Okay, because when I look at 54, we already saw that was 6 times 9. 2 times 3, and 9 is 3 times 3. So that's going to become 3 cube roots of 2 minus the cube root of 2. Remember again that understood 1. So this is going to become 2 cube roots of 2. Okay? Ask about them. If there's something I'm going through too quickly, ask me. That's why I'm here. Okay, we don't see this very often, but I do have to make sure you know that it's there. When you have an index that is an odd number, okay, so for example, your index is 3 or 5. I don't know when you'd ever see the 5th root. Whatever your number is, positive or negative, your answer is okay to be positive or negative. But if it is even, typically 2 or 4, that's an or, sorry. Okay, then when you take the root, make sure that it is positive. Because when you square -3, you get the square root of 9, and all of you know that is 3. But if you say we're going to get just the number you started with, if it started as a negative, it's still going to end up positive. Because when you raise it to an even power, it becomes positive, and then you can square root it, but you always get the principal or positive square root. So make sure you understand that if it's odd, you can have a negative root. If it's even, your index is even, then your root has got to be positive. Okay? It's more concerning when you got a variable involved. Okay, so now when I see this, I'm old enough, I've seen enough. 64 is 4 times 16, that's 4 times 4. And the cube root of x to the 6, well, that would be x squared times x squared times x squared. And what we end up doing is dividing the 6 divided by the 3, and you end up with x squared. Now this time I don't need the absolute value because x squared is going to be positive. Okay, the next one, it's a cube root. Remember the exponent, the denominator is the index for the root. Cube roots, it doesn't matter if it was odd or even. So the cube root of 125 is 5. P cubed, the cube root is P. Q to the 12, okay? So when you raise powers to powers, you'd multiply exponents. You're going to get Q to the 4th. And that's quite pretty. It came out very nice. Okay? Same with these. Now, to me, this one we got to be careful with the J. Because when you have an even power going to an odd power, That might have been started as negative, and you can't have a negative root when it's an even index. The k squared is going to be positive regardless. It's like some simplifying to do. Okay, I can reduce the 14 and the 2. That'll just become 7. Okay. X to the 1 divided by x to the 3/4. The rule is subtract your exponents when you divide. So I'm going to have x to the 1/4. There's only one term with y. We got z to the -5 in the denominator. To make the exponent positive, we move it to the numerator. That's not real pretty, but it's simplified. Each variable is used only once. The coefficient is simplified. That's all we can do with it. Okay, fifth root. 4 is 2 times 2. Can't do anything with that. So that's going to stay inside. Okay, a to the 8th, that's a to the 5th times a cubed. Well, the 5th root of a to the 5th is a. And the index is odd, so we don't worry about positive and negatives. A cubed has to stay put. Okay, b to the 14th, I'm going to go up this way. That's b to the 5th times b to the 5th times b to the 4th. So this is b times b, but there's b to the 4th left over. And the 5th root of c to the 5th is just going to be c. Okay, I looked at it piece by piece. You will want to do the same. Just be careful. What some students have done in the past is when they look at these variables with exponents, for example, the 14. Well, 14 divided by 5 is 2 remainder 4. So the b squared goes to the outside, and the remainder 4 means b to the 4th has to, stay inside the radical. Right, so when we simplify this one, I'm going to have the cube root of x, and I'm going to have y squared cube root of y, and we can't leave a y or a radical in the denominator, so I'm going to multiply this by the cube root of y squared, top and bottom, by 1 in the form of something over itself. Well, that means in the denominator, I have y squared times y, so my denominator will become y cubed. My numerator, they're both cube roots. I'm going to multiply those radicands together. That's all I can do with it. That's simplified. A few more examples. Okay. Notice these are like terms. So we're going to combine our coefficients. That'll simply be 4/5 square root of 8. Okay. These are like terms. The variable parts are the same. 3 minus 8 is -5. X times y to the 1/4. That's all we can do. Okay. Cube root, this will simplify. That'll be z and cube root of z squared. So I'm going to have 12z cube root of 2z squared minus, didn't we do this several times? Doesn't this 54 become 3 cube roots of 2? And then z squared has to stay there. So I'm going to have 3z cube roots of 2z squared. My radical parts are the same. Okay, the 12z minus the 3z would be 9z cube roots of 2z squared. Okay, some people love this pure algebra. They will be very successful at this. Some people think, wow, that's a whole bunch of doing stuff that I don't need to do. Actually, my daughter would tell you, man, you do this so much when you get to doing more chemistry. This algebra manipulation really is going to help you as you get into more advanced maths and sciences. So don't write it off as unnecessary. It really will help you. Also clarifies thinking